I think the future looks like a deeper bench of prepared voices, diverse in perspective, grounded in the real work that it takes to get to where most of us desire to grow to.
Hello, I'm Brenna Nath, Vice President of Events and Community at HousingWire. This is a 10-minute talk that I'm particularly excited about for what it means for growing a part of the industry in the space I'm so passionate about, which is events, public speaking, whether that's in person or virtual. And so I've had the pleasure of not only having Kendall Bonner on my stage over the years, but I had the honor of interviewing her myself back in, I think it was August of last year. And I still say this, Kendall, you are probably I shouldn't have favorites, maybe I shouldn't say that, but one of the strongest people I have ever interviewed in person. What does that look like? When I say a strong interview, and I want to call this out because it applies to the rest of our conversation, she was engaging the audience, making people laugh, bringing people back into the room. And as a result, had people coming up to her afterwards and being like, oh, tell me more about this. Let me see this. And I call that out because it just shows the knowledge, the strength, and credibility that she's bringing to this conversation. Because I want to let you, Kendall, kind of introduce a little bit about this new chapter that you're rolling out, this exciting company that really needs to live in this space. So Kendall, first off, excited to have you on 10-minute talks. And can you tell us a little bit about your new title?
Yes. Hi, Brenna. Thank you. And I just want to say, first of all, to you and to your audience, what a pleasure and an honor it is to be here today and share the stage with you again. Like, so much fun. So yes, I am the founder of the Industry Speaks Academy. And I'm so excited about this particular venture of mine because for the first time, I'm building something that really is designed to make a massive impact on our industry. And so, so many things that we do in life have micro impact or local impact. And this is one of those ones that truly has the opportunity to have an industry impact. And so I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait to share more.
You've come to our stage, other stages in the industry, talking about almost every trend, important topic, whether it's leadership or top news stories. You've kind of addressed it all. So you really can talk through how do you approach an important topic that's sensitive and you need to be mindful of. You approach it to here's how I inspire an audience, which I think is really cool. As I've looked at events for 2026, a theme that I've noticed is that with this growth of technology, with this growth of AI, there's still so much power in the human element, the emotional element of coming together, which is why I'd love to hear your thoughts with the Industry Speaks Academy. What important perspectives or discussions do you think is going to shape housing? Because that's what you're building towards ultimately, is helping these people craft their discussions to show up more consistently on stage. So what do you think will shape some of those discussions?
Yeah, that's such a big question. And I have my own ideas about where I think people should be framing conversations for sure. And, I have been very blessed to not only attend many conferences and be on their stages, but also to listen to some powerful conversations. And, where I think it would be super interesting to see speakers and event organizers reframe conversations, especially when it comes to housing, is a couple of different things. I was on a stage last year. I moderated a panel for South by Southwest stage for Realtor.com. And we were talking about the evolution of housing and policy, the lack of affordable homes and things like that. And I really do think 2026 should address some of these very real issues that we're having in our industry right now. For example, how we can streamline housing production. I imagine AI and robotics playing a bigger role in housing development. I think that would be super interesting to see on our stages going forward. I'd love to see us talking about how we can leverage AI in operations, for example, of like housing permitting related to development. Again, anytime we can streamline these things, we can make things more affordable and provide more opportunity for housing for our citizens. Also, too, getting involved in more innovative mortgage solutions. talking about assumable mortgages, portable mortgages, rent to own, lease to own. We've talked about this on stage before ourselves, but I don't think it's talked about enough, but I think it's an interesting angle. And then, of course, proactive housing policies around innovation, for example, adaptive use and reuse of land, right? The fact that we're not leveraging public land that is being repurposed instead of for corporate development, let's use it for housing. Let's take commercial buildings and use it for housing. I think there's just this real opportunity to have some new conversation. But in order to have these new conversations, we have to get some new voices up there who are about these things. And I think that's a real opportunity that we have going forward in 2026 in conference space.
That's a great call out, because the reason I started off this conversation talking about how you engage the audience, how it's powerful. To me, it's tools like that and even more that you're bringing to Industry Speaks Academy. And so how do you, because I agree, it's like you have these people who have the knowledge. Now let's help them learn. How do you get that to be engaging for a room? So in practice, what does this look like? How are you getting these people to be more stage ready? And how are you even finding them maybe?
Yeah, so right now, the goal of the Academy Speaks is to source speakers who have been on stage before or done some sort of event in the past, who have a expertise or an experience to share. And then my goal is to help them reframe that expertise into contribution. Because just because you've learned something or you know something does not mean that you are yet skilled in the way of articulating it in a fashion that allows the audience to truly hear what you're saying, and not only to hear it, but to feel connected to it and to be able to take from it and learn and then go take action, right? And be inspired by it to move. So part of what we do, for example, at the Industry Speaks Academy is we have 5 frameworks that we work from to help our leaders and our speakers reframe their conversations, help them be prepared for the opportunity to be on a stage, because that is the true special sauce, is taking your experience and turning it into contribution that lands. And so those are the things that we're doing. And that comes from repetition and practice, as well as real honest feedback. So many of us get the opportunity to share, and then we're asking the audience members, how'd I do? You did great. Well, that's not helpful if, especially when you know that more, that really it's not just about talent. Speaking and contributing back to the industry is about a skill. It's a skill set that has to be worked. It's a muscle.
It is a muscle. Repetition, I would emphasize that so much, that you could have all the passion skills, but you need the reps in order to just be able to improv too. I have heard some of your answer to this, but I would love to hear it in your words, which is, and it's weaved into all of your answers, but why you're so passionate about this. Can you expand on that part some?
Yeah, I'm passionate about it because I've been blessed to have the experience of being on many different stages. And I have met so many other amazing leaders who have not had that opportunity yet and who have really, really, really amazing things to share. And what happened was I had people ask me, how can I duplicate, Kendall, what you've achieved? I want to contribute back to the industry that's changed my life, because that's certainly how I see it. And at first I didn't have a path or a mechanism to share, and I hadn't quite articulated what that looked like. And I finally decided to take on that challenge because I felt it was important if I wanted to be able to truly impact my industry. And I realized there was this credibility gap that existed, and I wanted to help solve that. And so by creating the Industry Speaks Academy, I was able to solve the problem of the gap between where people are as leaders and their expertise, and then their ability to share those lessons and share that information with their audiences in a way that drives real movement and impact. So that was really important to me.
Well, and I echo you in that passion. The reason I was so quick to want to get you on this video interview was because as someone who oversees events, I see this time and time again where someone has so much information, but then maybe they're not stage ready, or maybe they're stage ready, but we also want to help them grow and become a better stage presenter. So they're tightening their message. They're getting to the core points. And to your point, feedback is so core in that. And so that element, along with repetition, all of it matters. If you had to look ahead, maybe it's a year, 2 years, like I said earlier, I firmly believe in the importance of in-person connection. How do you view raising the bar for speakers, bringing more voices in the industry? How does this have the power to change the industry as a whole? Which I also know is quite the big question.
Yeah, it is a big question, but I think that, the goal here is reasonable, which is, the fact is audiences don't want to continue to get recycled talking points, right? We can build something that allows more innovative and new voices the opportunity to share. That can help prevent that. And when experience becomes contribution, that's a truly, truly magnificent opportunity, right? And then, of course, the goal of being on stage and the goal of bringing these voices to stage is the lessons by shortening learning curves, right? So I think the future looks like a deeper bench of prepared voices, diverse in perspective, right? That's super important, grounded in the real work that it takes to get to where most of us desire to grow to. And then basically it's capable of shaping the industry forward instead of just reacting to it.
Yeah.
So, we want to teach the rules. We want to of the game. We want to force objective and honest feedback as a part of the academy. And then, of course, we want to signal that academy speakers, for example, they're ready and they're open to be connected with, amazing event organizers like yourself.
I appreciate that. Well, like I said, I truly view this as a partnership. As someone like you who is passionate about very similar things to me, this is a message that I know will help bring this industry forward in a way that's like, you might have all the insights, but doesn't matter if you don't know how to distill them down for others. So Kendall, thank you for joining me. I know this won't be the last time we talk. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much.